Yes, guys, there's something that was said by Floyd that most of you, I bet you didn't pay attention to. Because I don't remember seeing anybody that talked about that. Do you know, forget about the video that I'm going to show you, which is full of creativity. Forget about it. Just focus on what I'm about to tell you. Guys, hey, there's something very interesting here. Floyd said, I attended churches whose faith I don't even agree with. Wait, relax. Paula Mdogo. Before you come for me. Before Floyd Shivambo became an MK Party member and the secretary of MK Party, have you ever seen Floyd Shivambo attending the Shembe Church? No. Floyd Shivambo attended many churches, but there's one church, just one church that we know. When he attended that church, the pictures were all over. Jacob Zuma has been attending other churches, pictures are there. But there's one church where Floyd attended, and we know that it was publicized. It is the Shembe Church. Wait, still follow the notion there. I attended churches whose faith I don't subscribe to. So who made him to do so? It is because of the organization he was serving in. All right, follow that. When you look at Ramaphosa regime, they prioritize they prioritize ZCC. Under Zuma, ZCC deserted government and said when they will never work with government. They got angry. Shembe was the closest. When MK Party was formed, Jacob Zuma became closer to Shembe Church. Wait, so the attending of a Shembe Church by Floyd Shivambo, who might have influenced that, put that together. Floyd did it anyway. So wait, what we are being told here is, I was made to attend a church whose faith I don't agree with, but I had to do it because of one thing, the organization. I did it for the greater good of the organization. But it doesn't mean that I agree with that faith. In fact, contrary, when Floyd Shivambo was still with MK Party, guess whose church they attended? Bushiri. So it will mean that somehow, somewhere, he agrees with the faith of Bushiri. And I said it last time that I don't agree with that. But look, I cannot hate a person for going to Bushiri's church, even if I don't agree with that faith. Did you hear me that? Yes, you heard me correctly. But before we can continue, I want you to listen to this well-edited video. Still, it has this element that I want you to listen. Listen to this.
Sit and talk.
But I attended the Jesus Nation Church in Malawi because I had to listen to the sermon.
That is part of the problem we have.
You know, going to religious institutions is a personal choice of anyone.
But I cannot allow it.
I go to even religious institutions whose faith I don't associate with.
I'm agreeing. I did not want to get into the detail. I just wanted to say that fellow is wrong.
I don't think that there was anything wrong.
Think very carefully.
Okay. Relax. Now, tell me something. In what you've just heard, specifically that part where it speaks about a church that he attended, a church that he was made to attend, a church whose faith he did not agree. Now, it then tells me that, you know that there's this thing that we're not paying attention to. We must look at who is in government. It will tell us the church that the state will tend to favor. Right now, you must look at ZCC, how, okay. I just don't have the article. If I had the article, I would have shared with you. But you can fact check me on this one. There was a time where the ZCC leadership, the church, said now they feel, when Ramaphosa became the president, they said they feel now, they use a certain word to say they are now going to be, or they see themselves as part and parcel of the government when Ramaphosa became the president. Prior to that, when Zuma was the president, they left that and say, Bona, they will never associate with that. So what you have to see here is, there's always a relationship between certain churches with the state, certain churches with the state. But does it mean that when those churches become closer to government, does it mean that it is a reflection of the people below? No. It means that the leaders, or the leader at the time, the president at the time, is in favor of a specific church. So it will then mean that there are people who will then go to that church, not necessarily because they agree with that faith, but for the sake of unity. I think that is what Floyd Shivambu is basically teaching us. But over and above, what Floyd Shivambu is teaching us is that I attended a church, or I was forced, because if I did not attend this church, what would have happened is that I would have been chased away. So Floyd reasons like this, or he reasoned like this. I'm sorry that I'm going to borrow a verse in the Bible where it says, unto Jews I became like a Jew in order for me to gain the Jews. Unto Romans I became like a Roman in order for me to gain a Roman. I'm sorry to borrow that, but that is what Floyd is basically saying. He said that in order for me to keep myself or my status as a Secretary General of Mkhonto we Sizwe Party, I needed to go to that church for people to feel comfortable. But then look at it this way. The Shambe church was accused. There was this story that was trending specifically on Facebook, where they were accused of marrying young ladies and blah blah blah. There was such an accusation, right? Nothing happened. Everything continued. Why the line is drawn using a church? Yeah, okay, he's a fugitive. Okay, fine, I get it. Is it Floyd Shivambu's fault? No. Same apply to Shambe Church. Is it Jacob Zuma's fault that people are marrying young there? No. It is the church's fault and its leadership. Bushiri, whose fault is it? It is Bushiri and the church's fault. Why out of everybody that attended there, only Floyd? Dr. Rebecca Malope was there. Why is it not a problem? But it's only a problem such that those organizations had to write to Mkhonto we Sizwe Party and talk about image, representation and blah, blah, blah. Dr. Rebecca Malope and others were there. There was no representation, nothing. The representation only happens when it comes to Floyd. No, man, you must look into this. Like, there's more to this story of Floyd Shivambu, Bushiri's church. And I want to state this categorically clear that I'm not a Bushiri fan. I'm not a Bushiri's fan. No, at all. But this thing of Floyd being chased or fired because of a church, no, man, there's something more to that. There's something more than what meets the eye. And that's what I'm inviting you to do. We need to dig deeper here. There's something more than what meets the eye. That's all I have to say. Get into the comment section below. Tell me what you think about it. Man. Now that I was looking at the evidence again, now that I was looking at things again, I'm like, hi man. Khona into offla. Khona ukushaya amanzi la. You know what I'm saying? Hey, bhekani. Ningathi ngithe mina kodwa anibuke la ngathi ikhonto engahambi kahle la. Angiboni kahle ukuthi yini kodwa ikhonto engahambi kahle la.